Howdy, children. This is Mr. Moorhead. We're picking up Christopher Columbus Part 2. I'm going to be going a little bit faster because I don't want to drag the video out really long. Might have to get 2 videos. So, Columbus, he has left a colony. This colony is in like the modern-day Haiti, Dominican Republic area. He has returned to Spain. He is considered a hero, although he doesn't have much of the stuff he promised. Now Spain is going to send him back for a second voyage. The first time they gave him 3 rickety ships. This time they're sending a fleet of 17 boats. It's almost the equivalent of the Spanish Navy. So this is a massive undertaking. Columbus has said, hey, there's gold to be gotten everywhere, and my colony that I've left behind is working on it. Now, when he returns on this second trip, he's actually farther south than the first one. Remember, the first one, he ran into the Bahamas, and then he moved to the islands, other islands after that, namely like Haiti, the Dominican Republic, modern-day areas. This time, he's farther south. So as he tracks north and explores, like he's hit the Puerto Rico area, he's going through these islands. He again sees the Caribs. That's the Native American group. He does not like them. Again, they attack his Taino allies. He does not like them. He has found several canoes full of these Carib Indians, and they have taken some slaves. These slaves are the Taino. They're also the Arawak, another name for them. And he rescues these people, okay? And he ends up capturing some of the Caribs. Some of these Caribs he will take as slaves. He does not like the Caribs. When he makes it back, he finds his colony has been destroyed. Could you imagine? You show up, you're promising all of this stuff. He's under a contract. He has to make money for Spain. He shows up, and it's like all falling apart, all right? So he is upset. Not 100% sure what to do, but he begins setting up another colony, and he's going to punish the people who did this. So he gets some understanding from a local leader, his ally, that it's another group that did it, that they had a fight over gold, they had a fight over ladies, and that group killed him. Columbus will go in and punish that group. He takes several of them as slaves and will try to send them back to Spain. So we see that he's attacked the Caribs that attacked his ally, and now he is taking slaves from this group that attacked his colony. So he is establishing a new colony, and he is starting to run low on supplies, okay? So he's got to make that trek back to Spain, and this isn't going to be a favorable one because they've sent this massive, almost Navy-type flotilla. He doesn't have that much gold. He's not doing what he's supposed to. And he's starting to run out of supplies. So he's going to be headed back to Spain. He has also put this new system in for the natives that he's friends with. He is saying essentially, I provide you protection from all these other folks. You got to provide us gold. Okay, and if you can't get gold, there's a couple other things that you could get in place of that. These natives would be given tokens, and that showed that they kind of paid their tax. However, there's a very harsh punishment if you didn't do that. You got your hand chopped off, okay? So he has established this system of tribute. The natives have to bring him gold. He is providing them protection from the Caribs. So now he is headed back. Now remember, he has taken slaves. He has taken them largely from the Caribs and this other group that has attacked him. So now he is headed back to Spain. He's headed back kind of empty-handed. He has not delivered the gold that he has promised. So upon getting back to Spain, he tells them, I got to go back. We're just low on supplies. Here's what happened. And they're starting to lose some patience with him. But he is going to make trip number 3. Now, this time, he does something quite extraordinary, hadn't been done before. He actually makes it to mainland South America. So each time he seems to be getting a little bit farther south. Remember, they can't tell latitude and longitude all that well, although he's pretty good at it. But he misses. He ends up farther south. He misses. He continues to go. That gets him farther off. And he hits mainland South America. hits Venezuela. He tracks his way back, and he finds out that this colony is ultimately in a civil war. They're fighting each other. They have not gathered all the gold that they're supposed to, and he's furious. This guy has gone from hero to, it looks like he overpromised, and he's not fulfilling any of the contracts he's supposed to. He's supposed to be getting Spain all of this money, and he's not really getting anything. So this time he's going to stay. He's going to set himself up as the governor, and he is making sure that this area is running, making sure he is getting tribute from the natives. And here is where you really see Columbus be harsh, okay? A lot of times you hear Columbus is harsh to the natives. He's kind of indifferent. Like they're supposed to bring him gold, but he thinks he's protecting them. He doesn't like the Caribs. He's gone to war with them. So he's definitely harsh with that particular tribe. But the others, perhaps not so much. However, if you worked for Columbus, he was harsh. Now, he charged several people with committing the crime, causing this almost civil war in the colony, and he executes them. He hangs these people up. He's executing them, all right? Now, he's got these folks executed. He's trying to run this colony, and word starts getting back to Spain because boats are going back and forth. Word gets back to Spain, hey, we sponsored Columbus, and he's executing the Spanish. He's executing us. We're sponsoring this guy, and he's executing us. So they send somebody to investigate. And sure enough, this guy walks in. You've got all these people hanging there, and Columbus says, hey, they broke the law. They're not doing what they're supposed to. And Columbus is actually placed under arrest, and he's brought back. Now, the ship captain that brings him back says, hey, you're Columbus. You're famous. Let's take these shackles off. Columbus says, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I executed people who weren't doing what they're supposed to. I haven't done anything wrong, anything that I'm not supposed to do. Let me answer for it. So he is taken back, and he's kind of put in front of the king and queen, almost like a trial, and he has to explain himself. They're going to punish him, all right, because he hasn't delivered what he's supposed to, and he has harshly treated the Spaniards. So they strip him of the money that he's supposed to get out of this expedition. They also take some of his titles away. However, he is going to aggravate them enough that they're actually going to let him do a fourth trip. Now, at this point, Columbus is no longer in charge of that colony. These are the Spaniards that are running it, and you do see a lot of harsh acts between these new colonists and the natives. A lot of times Columbus is blamed for this. Columbus is back in Spain at this point. Again, he's somewhat indifferent. He treated the Spanish very harshly, but he has adopted a native son. But again, his main job is he's trying to prove himself. He's trying to say, hey, I promised you money. I'm going to get that money. I'm going to do what I said I did, because he's looking like he can't keep his word. So he's gone from hero to being arrested. Now they felt sorry for him. They've sent him back for a fourth trip, and he lands in Central America, in modern-day Panama, that area. He gets out and explores, and Panama is only about 7 miles wide at its most narrow point. And if he would have walked just a little bit further, he would have realized that he's not in Asia, because he would have seen the Pacific Ocean. But he didn't go that extra mile. He missed it by about a mile. If he'd have went a mile further, he would have seen that, hey, wait, this is not matching up to Marco Polo. Here's another ocean. This must be a land in between, but he didn't go. He's going to get back in his boat. He's going to try to make it back to that original colony, and he's going to crash land in Jamaica out of a storm. So when he crash lands in Jamaica, most of his crew has lost faith in him. They consider him unlucky. You promised all this money. You haven't delivered. Nobody's seeing any gold. You're bad luck. And a lot of the crew abandon him. Some of the natives that live in Jamaica are now attacking him. And this is where he pulls off his last great trick as a navigator. Columbus has been very sick at this point. You see a lot of disease between natives and the Europeans. The natives are dying from this. They have no immunity to very simple diseases like chicken pox, eventually smallpox, but just different types of diseases that Europeans have built up immunity to over time. A lot of these populations will die. A lot of the native populations. You can see Spanish accounts of going into village after village after village, and they're empty. And there's dead there. It's because these diseases have spread. The same thing will happen in North America, okay? However, you see this on the European side as well. There's massive outbreaks of a disease in Italy, in Spain, pretty much anywhere where Christopher Columbus or his crew travels after they return. Columbus himself got very sick. He is very sick. He has crash landed. His crew has essentially abandoned him except for a few people, and now he's being attacked by natives. He knows these natives have some sort of worship of the moon, okay? And he tells them, if you do not bring me food, I'm going to take the moon away. They laughed at him. Like, you can't do that. You can't feed yourself. How can you take the moon away? Columbus knows that there's going to be an eclipse. And sure enough, that night, the moon is gone for a short amount of time. The next day, natives bring him food, and they fed him every day afterward, and the remaining part of his crew until he was rescued. He will be sent back to Spain eventually. He is broken physically. He's sick. He is broken financially. He has no money. And several years later, he keeps petitioning, let me go back for a fifth time. King Ferdinand is going to visit him. And we're going to have Columbus's son answers the door, essentially, and he tries to get his dad up. And he's like, he can't even get out of bed. Shortly after that, Columbus will die. Columbus dies kind of broke, kind of a zero. But shortly after that, the Spanish realize that they have found a new world. And this is where Columbus's star goes right back up. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy did do something amazing. It doesn't matter if there's not much gold here. It's a whole other continent. They're actually going to dig Christopher Columbus up and bring his bones over and bury him at this colony in Hispaniola, modern-day Dominican Republic, Haiti. They bury him there. Now, strangely enough, in the late 1900s or late 1800s, as the Spanish Empire began to collapse, Spain dug him back up and brought him back and buried him there. So he actually made that fifth trip. It's just in his death. We don't really count that. So, guys, that is Columbus. So he kind of went from hero to zero, kind of back to hero, and even modern thoughts are kind of changing on the guy. But he does discover a new world, a place that previously wasn't on any map, that nobody knew existed outside of Europe or outside of the known world or the old world. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed Columbus's story. We got another explorer coming up, and he's just as interesting.